Hello, everyone. It's been a very busy couple of weeks. I hope that you guys had good holidays and survived them. Um, I wanted to showcase some of the new client features. The last 2 weeks have been actually fairly active in development. We did a lot of server and client ads, so I wanted to kind of showcase both of them. The biggest thing, obviously, for me anyway, is that the content generation tools are all done. So, barring any small bugs, which I fixed most of tonight, we're pretty much ready to go live with that. So the next step in the server is to actually get the lands that are created to save. And once they're saving, then we're going to start building actual world content that's going to stick around with us through beta and, of course, live. So in addition to that, of course, there's a lot of client tools to go with it to help staff do what they need to do, and also some features for players that should be useful. So first, I wanted to get back into the client. Fortunately, I changed the resolution a bit, so you won't be able to see the whole client in the window, but I still hope that you are watching this in HD so that you can see the majority of it. First off, some minor cosmetic improvements. There's a menu now. I don't remember if that was in the last one or not. There's two menu options, which are just quick toggles, and these will let you turn on and off some of the features. We did add a latency meter. Frankly, our host for the server right now isn't very good. The latency seems to push out to 200 regularly, so that might change in the future. But that was the driving force behind putting this meter in here. So the other thing is there's now a settings window, and the majority of the settings that you'll be changing here are the styles, and of course the style is just the text style for how things are displayed. So for instance, the default style is how look is displayed. You can change the font, you can change the font size, and you can see the little preview there. Let's see, where's my good old Comic Sans? Okay, you can see the preview there. You can change the color, and I have some defaults here, or you could use a different palette for a more general color. Most of the time these defaults should be everything that you need. We'll go with some orange here. You can also make it bold and or italic. These don't show up in the sample, but they do show up when you do the look. Now the important thing to note is that these don't change immediately, but they do change once new messages of that type are received. And you can see that take effect there. Fortunately, that looks like crap, so I will change it back to my normals. Now the colors, there's actually 12 different styles, which is probably a lot, but for the most part you won't be changing many of them. I did want to give you the option though. There's the event text, which is triggered when a staff member sends a deliberate piece of text, either flavor to announce something, or if there's an important server announcement like a shutdown, you'll see that in event text. System is the color of error text and other just system text or feedback, like if you try to target something and you can't find it. System alt isn't used by players. It's kind of a different deal. Token counter is for when you have like the strange staff symbol on staff characters. There's probably going to be some counters relating to different abilities or perhaps status effects, and if there's more than one counter on it, you'll get a little by 2 or by 3 to tell you how many of those exist. You can change the color of that and the size. Hostiles obviously is hostiles players or mobs. Friendlies is friendly players or friendly NPCs. Items is items. Then you have plan, guild, send, and say, and these can all be customized as well. There's another panel here for alerts, and this one is new. Basically what this will do is the default is to flash the taskbar and send. You've all seen an IM client when you receive a message and the window is not up. What it does is it flashes the client in the client window in your taskbar, and that kind of draws your eye. Well, the Cyra client will do the same thing. So you can set it to do it on send, on say, guild, plan, or event text. Like I said, by default it's on send, but you can definitely turn it off. Again, just a pretty basic addition. I felt it was necessary for me anyway, because I tend to idle out in the client while I'm working in another window, and so this way I can kind of see when I have a send or when I should be paying attention. So some people might like that as well. Now the other thing that you can see here is macros, but I'll come back to that panel in just a second. The way that macros work right now is that we have basically you can push any key that is macroable, and that's F1 through F12, and then you have the Shift F1 through F12, and then you have Control A through Z, except for X, C, and V, which are reserved for cut, copy, and paste. So basically, once you press the key, what you'll see is the macro pop-up comes up. You can type in a macro, press enter, and it puts you back at the input bar. So the next time you press the key, you have your macro pops up. The other thing you can do is, just like DFC, you can put a ampersand, and this will cause the macro to fire at the end. So we'll do that, and then when I press F2, it automatically says hello. You can also do things that will leave the cursor at the prompt. So if you say hello and then send whatever, just press enter there. So it will send the first command, but then it puts the rest on my input bar so that I can do whatever I need to do. Okay, so you can see that Theron came in. So I logged in a second player, and what I wanted to show here relates to quick look here. You can see that he's in my friendly quick look list. If I click on his name, this ends up triggering an action, which is look. So it automatically looks at whoever I click on here. Now I intend for that to do something else in the future, possibly open an information widget so that you can always see like what condition the entity is in, or perhaps what spell effects are on it, etc. But for now it just does look. But the other important feature as it relates to macros is that you can do macros against your currently selected target. So what I'm going to do is send Theron a message. What you do is you put in the $, and what it does is it replaces the $, with whoever you have selected. So in this case it put in Theron. So what it ends up doing if you don't have anybody selected is it will simply replace the $, and leave it out so that nothing happens. But then again, if you select them and press your key, it once again does that replacement. There's also going to be a separate symbol for far C if you have somebody selected on far C, and that's going to be the up caret. For macros, what the panel does is allows you to view your existing macros, and again you can see the different kinds of them. You can select any of them and delete them. I apparently forgot to do a edit in place, so you can't do that yet, but eventually that will be in there. The other important thing to note is that there are now profiles. So each player can have up to 3 different macro profiles. Now these will change all of the macros that you have set. So if I want to make a different one, say I'll call it extra or invasions for when I'm invading somebody, I'll add that in. It automatically switches your profile to that, and then anytime that you press a key, then that will set the new macro. Now the other thing that this will do is just to allow you to organize your macros depending on what you're doing. I know a lot of people like to keep a lot of macros, but really you only use a certain number of keys, so it's kind of annoying sometimes to have to switch. You can switch the profiles by coming into the macro box, and then you have the new one. Now there's another feature here which will let you switch between profiles on the fly, and that's by holding down the control key and the down arrow, and you can see that I can cycle through my profiles to whatever I want. So right now I'm on my main profile, and this one is always loaded when you start, so it's got just my say macro. If I switch back to my invasion macro profile, then press F1 and it does that macro instead. I just wanted to show off the map generation tools. So what I'm going to do now is show you some staff commands. What we're going to do is create a block, and I'll need to be in my edit profile. So I've created some macros that will generate this block for me, just so that I can show how the tools are active and live. Actually, the first thing we do is go into edit, and then we create a block. Then you can see here that the block changed. I created something called Vasiland. I then set the name to Tunnel of Doom. The best way to show you what's going on here is to bring up the staff visualizer. Now you can see I made a block. It's 10 by 10. You can see the dimensions here by 2. So we actually go up 1 level. The important thing that I want to communicate is that all lands in this engine occupy quote-unquote real space. Unlike DFC, where you just had a set of 50 rooms to do whatever with, these lands have to be organized in a logical manner. So we have our two layers. So the first thing I want to do is just populate this with some rooms. So you'll see it go. Now what I actually ended up doing was going up into the second layer here. So I'm just gonna go back to the beginning. So we have 6 rooms, and I'm just gonna link them together real quick. Okay. So what we have here is let's go out of it real quick. We have a portal back at the beginning, and I can just walk through here. If I was a player, you can see there's both a block map. This is what you guys will see, and then we have our own map to determine, just give us a little more information. We have all the types of exits down, so we have, this is termed a hallway, and then we have portals, which act like hallways, but they have special properties. So we'll go through that, and we're back at the beginning. Of course, this would all be pretty useless if we couldn't have room descriptions and other such nonsense, so I will set both the room description and the subtitle, and that's basically how we build our lands. This system is all working. It allows us to do links between lands and in lands, and basically keep everything together. There's different commands for making blocks, for moving them in space. Like this one is situated at the evil coordinate, as I call it, but we can easily move this over to anchor it at any coordinate that we want. This is how we will build all the content for alpha and beta, and of course that will all bleed over into live. That's pretty much it for now. I just wanted to let you guys see what's been going on. Lands was a very big project. There's a lot of logic involved to make sure that everything works correctly, that we can't screw anything up either by accident or on purpose. Everything has to respect the coordinate space. So hopefully you guys can see that there is stuff going on. Some of the next stuff is the more exciting stuff. We're going to start putting in some skills for climb, jump, swim, etc., and other such goodies. So stay tuned. I will have more videos as we make bigger leaps in progress.